It's 2026, the start of 2026, and you've probably set a New Year's resolution or a number of resolutions for yourselves. If one of your resolutions is to improve your public speaking, if you're thinking about and you want to understand how to create a dynamic speech, how to deliver powerful presentations in your workplace or out there on YouTube or wherever you want to go, and you want to become more of the speaker you believe you can be, then I have 3 books today that I'm going to tell you you need to have on your library shelf. And if you don't have a library shelf, get a library shelf for these 3 books. Now, each of these books that I'm going to talk about today, just give you a brief overview. Well, each of these books is filled with tips, techniques that are proven. And I know, in fact, I can guarantee that if you take any tips, any of the techniques from any one of these 3 books, and you practice these techniques on a consistent basis, you will move from being an ordinary speaker to becoming an extraordinary speaker. So before I mentioned or talk about the 3 books, I just want to let you know that there are videos. I have other videos where I've mentioned books that I use that have worked for me and that I feel are valuable. And those are mentioned in links in the description below. For the 3 books today that I'm going to talk about, I think I might have mentioned this one, the very first one before, but if not, and I do think it's worth mentioning again, and so here it goes, I'm going to mention it again. Successful Presentations for Dummies. Successful Presentations for Dummies. The book is by Malcolm Kushner, and it is a fabulous book. I love how Malcolm Kushner writes. What this book now, I should let you know, is it's over 400 pages. 400 pages, but Malcolm Kushner makes it an easy read. So what I like about the book is, as I said, it's an easy read. It's a fun read. He goes through and he has tidbits of humor and how he uses his words. It just makes it a delight. You can actually take it for bedtime reading and not give yourself a headache. It's a great book. Challenge, it's over 400 pages, but lots of headings, lots of subheadings, and lots of white space. You don't have to take this book and read it from the beginning to the end, from cover to cover, although I thoroughly recommend that you do. The book is actually divided into 5 sections, 5 major sections, so you can hop into any section and pick up tips and techniques that you can apply immediately. The very first section is about what every speaker wants to do, and the first section is about influencing people. The next one is about creating or building your presentations. The third one is about delivering presentations. The fourth one is about humor. How do you incorporate humor into your talk? And of course, the fifth one is kind of a grab bag of things. He talks about tricks you can use to engage your audience, stories, how to tell stories. And of course, there's a biggie here. He talks about speaker mistakes. What are the mistakes that speakers make that take them down and cause them to be forgotten instead of building up their credibility and having them be remembered? It's a great book. And as I said, you don't have to read it from the front to the back. You can actually plop into the middle, pick a section, go through it, start applying the techniques, and you'll get the benefit right away. The book is also filled with interesting little tidbits. For example, there is one chapter, a section, and I think it's on the very first section about influencing people. How do you talk someone into something? And the question is, do you tell both sides of the story? Or do you just tell one side of the story to your audience? Do you tell the pros and the cons, the reasons for, the reasons against? What do you do? And interestingly enough, he says it all depends on your audience, and then he goes into the explanation. Successful Presentations for Dummies, I highly recommend it. The second book I'm going to talk about here is actually a textbook. It's dense. It's a bit more of a challenging read. It's a textbook. It's called A Speaker's Handbook, The Speaker's Handbook, and it's by Joe Sprague and Douglas Stewart. So it's smaller print because it's a textbook. As I said, it's dense, lots of information. It has over 457 pages, and that does not include the preface or the table of contents. Again, let me tell you, it's a textbook, but it's a valuable textbook that covers absolutely everything and anything you wanted to know about public speaking. In fact, there are things in there that you probably didn't even know applied to public speaking. So it's a well worth resource book to have on your shelf. I have the 4th edition. I think right now there is probably edition number 12 out there. I'm not quite sure. It's a bit more pricey, but nevertheless, I really feel it's worth having on your library shelf. So what I like about it, as I said, it covers everything and anything that you want to know, and even that you didn't know that you should know. And what I like here about this book is that every chapter, you have a chapter heading, for example, there's one chapter 12, I think is conclusions. And you go, oh, conclusion's the ending. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Got to wrap up with my points. And we think about, oh, conclusion is just the end. But they have little subheadings underneath the major heading of the chapter. And for conclusions, it says, use a conclusion to provide logical and psychological closure. Now that puts an entirely different spin on it. A logical closure and a psychological closure, because the audience, the people who are listening to you, it's not only that they need to find an end, that you need to reach an end with your speech eventually, and that they're looking for an ending. That ending has to come where they can see step by step by step how you reach that ending, and then mentally and emotionally be able to buy into it so that they feel satisfied when you are finished your presentation. So it takes every chapter just takes a different slant depending on the subheading underneath. The other thing that I really like about this book is that they use every available space to give you information. So usually you'll find in books where you've got the inside covers and the back cover and the front cover, the inside of them is blank. It's filled with nothing, just space. Here in this particular handbook, in the speaker's handbook, what they have is they have information. Every available page has information on it. Just in case you need to look for something, what I really love here is that both the front covers, the inside of the cover, and the inside of the back cover are covered with reference material and little points to help you so you don't have to go searching through the pages. You've got it right there on the inside cover. It tells you if you're looking for this, this is where it is, this is where you go. And the back cover it's great. It has a simplified speaker's preparation checklist on one side, and on the other side, it has a sample evaluation checklist. Clear, concise, and an extremely helpful book. The Speaker's Handbook. The third book here is a small paperback, and it's Make Presentations with Confidence. And it's by an author is Vivian Buchanan, and it is part of a series of success books called Barron's Business Success Guide books. Barron's Business Success Guide books. So they have Barron's Success Series, has a whole number of books, and this one is Make Presentations with Confidence. This is a business success book. That's what it's called, a business book. But you know, the material in here applies to absolutely everyone. It's slanted in such a way that anyone from beginner to really professional speaker can go through it, enjoy it, and pick up some tips. Now, it's half the size of the other two books, which are well over 400 pages. And I think the Speaker's Handbook, probably if you take table of contents and the preface, is probably closer to 500 pages. So this is half the amount of information. It's also half the size. So you can breeze through this in no time at all if you just want a quick reference, quick check on how to do something or how to beef up something that you've already done. It gives you the bare bones of what you need in your speech writing and your speaking skills. And what I like here is that the author shares simple techniques that you can put into practice right away. So for example, when she's talking about creating a short speech, say somebody asks you to give a talk and you've had no time to prepare, but you have the information in your head. So all you need to do is maybe take a quick sip of water or a quick break into the washroom just to get your head into the right space, come back out, and you can deliver a presentation. And this is what you do. It's just in basically 2, 3 steps. Number one, you introduce your topic. You introduce your topic and you do it in a particular way that makes the person who's listening to you, the people who are listening to you, ask why. Why did that happen? So maybe, let's think about it. Maybe you tried to make a big sale, or there was something your organization, your company was doing, and it failed. It didn't go through, it collapsed. So as you're introducing your topic, whatever it is, you made this business presentation and the client didn't buy. In fact, the deal collapsed. Your goal here, however you introduce, is that your audience needs to ask why. Why did this happen? Why did this collapse? Why? Your body, the body of your presentation, gives the answer. It collapsed or didn't go through because, and you give because point 1, and because point 2, and because point 3. In many presentations, especially if they're no more than 30 minutes, especially if they're only 15 or 10, you give no more than 3 points. Sometimes it might just be 1 or 2 points, depending on how long or how short your presentation is. And then once you've given your points, then you wrap up with your conclusion, and your conclusion, as you've led people through, this is what happened. They're asking why in the first step. The body of your presentation, it happened because, and now you wrap up, and with those 3 points, or those are the reasons why this collapsed, the deal collapsed, and you wrap it up. So is there more that you can add to it to embellish it? Yes, but if you're on the spot and you need to deliver a presentation with no time or little time to prepare, this is a great technique. And then you wrap up, as I said, you wrap up your conclusion. These are 3 books that I highly recommend. There are lots of books out there in the market. You can take your pick, but I love Successful Presentations for Dummies. It's lighthearted, and Kushner takes a humorous approach to developing your skills, your speaking skills. The Speaker's Handbook is a more serious, takes a more academic approach, because it is an academic book. And then Make Presentations with Confidence is a simple, easy to read. You can go through it in no time at all. And it's just there as a quick flip to resource. I got to make sure I add that. And it's a book that helps you, gives you the basics. So as I said earlier, if you don't have one of these books or all of them on your shelf, I suggest that you do. You get one, get them all. Resource books are invaluable. If you do reading online or go through Kindle, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Get the books. Get the books, because giving presentations, connecting with people, making sure that you're building your trust with them, building credibility, giving them the information that they want to need is never a one-stop shop learning affair. It's an ongoing experience and exercise, because every audience is a new audience. If you haven't checked or subscribed to my YouTube channel, just please click the button below, subscribe. Why wouldn't you subscribe? Every time I'm up here with a video, I'm going to give you more information on presentation skills. In fact, I can't even say that now. I'm going to give you, helpful tips, techniques on presentation skills, on public speaking, some of the pitfalls, some of the positives, some of the negatives. And if you have a question, if there's something that you'd like me to address that I haven't touched on, or you don't see where I've touched on it, please, put your question in the comments below. So subscribe, get involved, give me your questions, give me your comments. Until next time, this is Dorothea Hendriks wishing you happy 2026, a happy new year, and mountains of success.